Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Depending on where you are in this world, God bless you. This is Gloria White coming to you from Utah, USA. Today we're going to be in the New Jerusalem Holy Bible and in the book of Matthew. And I'm going to try to sync up the New Jerusalem Holy Bible with Through the Bible. So we're in chapter 5. So I'm going to start here again in chapter 5, where we had almost gotten to chapter 6 in the New Jerusalem. But we're going to start at 5, and then we're going to just try to keep them together, the chapters together, as we go through the book of Matthew. Okay. The Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, chapter 5. Seeing the crowds, he went on to the mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak. This is what he taught them. How blessed are the poor in spirit. The kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are the gentle, they shall have the earth as inheritance. Blessed are those who mourn, they shall be comforted. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for uprightness, they shall have their fill. Blessed are the merciful, they shall have mercy shown them. Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Blessed are those who are persecuted in the cause of uprightness. The kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are you when people abuse you and persecute you and speak all kinds of calumny against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven. This is how they persecuted the prophets before you. Salt for the earth and light for the world. You are salt for the earth. But if salt loses its taste, what can make it salty again? It is good for nothing and can only be thrown out to be trampled under people's feet. You are light for the world. A city built on a hilltop cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp to put it under a tub. They put it on the lampstand where it shines for everyone in the house. In the same way, your light must shine in people's sight, so that seeing your good works, they may give praise to your Father in heaven. The fulfillment of the law. Do not imagine that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to complete them. In truth, I tell you, till heaven and earth disappear, not one dot, not one little stroke is to disappear from the law until all its purpose is achieved. Remember, the Israelites rejected Jesus. They're still under the law. This is why the law is still pertinent. It's not pertinent to those who accept Jesus Christ, because we are under grace. We aren't under the law. Therefore, anyone who infringes even one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be considered the least in the kingdom of heaven. But the person who keeps them and teaches them will be considered great in the kingdom of heaven. The new standard higher than the old. For I tell you, if your uprightness does not surpass that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never get into the kingdom of heaven. You have heard how it was said to our ancestors, you shall not kill. And if anyone does kill, he must answer for it before the court. But I say this to you, Anyone who is angry with a brother, will answer for it before the court. Anyone who calls a brother fool will answer for it before the Sanhedrin. And anyone who calls him traitor will answer for it in hell fire. So then, if you are bringing your offerings to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar. Go and be reconciled with your brother first. Then come back and present your offering. Come to terms with your opponent in good time while you are still on the way to the court with him, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you will be thrown into prison. In truth, I tell you, you will not get out till you have paid the last penny. You have heard how it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say this to you, if a man looks at a woman lustfully, he has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye should be your downfall, tear it out and throw it away, for it will do you less harm to lose one part of yourself than to have your whole body thrown into hell. And if your right hand should be your downfall, cut it off and throw it away, for it will do you less harm to lose one part of yourself than to have your whole body go to hell. It has also been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a writ of dismissal. But I say this unto you, everyone who divorces his wife, except for the case of an illicit marriage, makes her an adulteress, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Again, you have heard how it was said to your ancestors, "You must not break your oath, but must fulfill your oaths to the Lord." But I say this to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, since this is God's throne, or by earth, since this is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, since this is the city of the great King. Do not swear by your own head either, since you cannot turn a single hair white or black. All you need to say is yes if you mean yes, no if you mean no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. You have heard how it was said, eye for eye and tooth for tooth. But I say this to you, offer no resistance to the wicked. On the contrary, if anyone hits you on the right cheek, offer him the other as well. If someone wishes you to go to law with you and get your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone requires you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles with him. Give to anyone who asks you, and if anyone wants to borrow, do not turn away. You have heard how it was said, you will love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say this to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be the children of your Father in heaven. For he causes his sun to rise, S-U-N, to rise on the bad as well as the good, and sends down rain to fall on the upright and the wicked alike. For if you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Do not even the tax collectors do as much? And if you save your greetings for your brothers and sisters, or your brothers, are you doing anything exceptional? Do not even the Gentiles do as much? You must therefore be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect. God doesn't differentiate in his children. He will judge them, but he loves them all. And this is what Jesus is saying. Don't differentiate. Do good to all. If a wicked one comes, don't resist them. If somebody wants to borrow something from you, loan it to them. If they ask you to help them to carry something a mile, help them carry it for 2 miles. Do good to one another. Remember what God told me to tell you. He wants us to be more like him. He wants us to love him with all of our heart, our mind, our soul, and all of our strength, all of our being. And he wants us to love one another as we love ourselves. And he wants us to love ourselves. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love anyone else like you love yourself? God is so good to us, and all that he has done for us, all the blessings he has laid upon our lives, even through the hard times, he's never left us. He's never forsaken us for a minute. Somehow, some way, we've always had the strength to get through. Do you think that's just because you're such a strong person? It's not. It's because he makes it possible. He strengthens you when you need the strength. He shows you a way out when you need a way out. He prospers you when you need to be prospered. He loves us all so very much, and he doesn't want to lose any of us to the evil one. Please, tell your friends how wonderful he is, how much he loves us. He loves us so very much. And if you read that, what I wrote, you know then, when I'm crying for the lost, that God is crying for the lost too. It breaks my heart. Pray for the lost. At least, if you're not brave enough to go out and plant seeds, you can pray. You can pray for the lost. You can pray for the harvesters. You can pray for the ones that are out there planting seeds. And as always, I love you.